during the winter circuit. But we're moving on to our next game. Sorry I was yapping so much. But we have Java versus Guichabou. And this is Grand Finals, baby.
And now, it's important to note, Guichabou, obviously on the winner side of the Grand Finals, took out Meg D to get here. But also, the person who took Java into the lower side of the bracket was Guichabou, and that was scary for a second there too. But yeah, Guichabou with a 3-0 over Java in the winner's semi-finals. And now Guichabou has that whole extra set to fall back on. And regardless of what happens, we'll be celebrating history being made as one player here is guaranteed getting their first gold medal. I just can't wait to see who.
Now Java's gonna have to adapt quickly because he went from a Qatar matchup where he was like winning almost every engagement to a Qatar matchup where previously he was losing a lot of engagements, especially in that winner's semifinals as it came out to a 3-1. So he's gonna have to adapt to these different Qatars from Guichabou very quickly.
I mean, so far, not so bad. For Java, as the damage is pretty even, but Guichabou, that GC side sig, it's one of those things, like I said before, similar to Radish using that GC side sig on Raptor's Orb. It's something that he won't use too often, but when he uses it in a situation where it's almost, you know, not obviously guaranteed, but it's in a situation where he's so confident and so comfortable with it hitting that I feel like he's hit more of those than he's missed.
I would tend to agree with that. Like, he's definitely more sig heavy when he gets the cannon in his hands. Like, he'll just throw him out raw all the time. He's a little bit more conservative with them when he's on the Qatars. Nice down air. Nice weapon toss. That should be the secure.
Have options.
That down air definitely will be the secure.
Yeah, Java keeping things relatively close here. Not too deep in the damage on this second stock. The Guichabou is going to be open to the cannon now, which isn't the weapon he really wants. Like I said, that side sig, there it is again. Using it in a way that, despite, you know, it's a sig, he missed it. He's going to go off the edge there. He's going to go further than expected. He's going to act out of it immediately. So Java just could not punish that, regardless.
All of a sudden, these down airs, if Megdi wants to keep playing a Suri, like, look at these Qatars. These are the Qatars he needs to look at to find how to initiate onto, like, specifically Java's Orb, but also probably Orb in general.
Absolutely, for sure. Although, Java, definitely someone who could start to adapt to that. Guichabou goes under for the recovery there, actually, and Java going to capitalize. Trying to go big on this Orb as the damage now starting to get a bit closer here. Guichabou catches the dodge and takes the stock away. Actually, a slightly larger lead than we saw on these fast stocks. Okay,
that's crazy.
I take back what I said about his use of that sig, man. I just don't know what to say about that one.
Yeah, that was a bold move coming out from Guichabou. Like, even if it hit, like, you're hitting a fresh white opponent. Like, what are you really accomplishing there, dog?
Was it really worth it? Still, Guichabou finding a couple of hits here. He lands a few more. He'll be looking pretty good going into his final stop with the sidelights there. Java going to keep it very close as we go into these final stocks here in Game 1 of Grand Finals. Can Guichabou set the pace of this set? Going to throw the cannon away immediately. Java on the spear, not the weapon he's been really wanting to make the most use of throughout the entirety of this tournament, but so far seems to be doing decently okay here. Guichabou struggling to find an opening here, throwing out a lot of moves, which is the recovery as well. Java, both players just sort of whiffing a lot here, looking for a way to break neutral. Movement almost too good.
Even Guichabou is starting to slow things down. Like, this is all of a sudden it's definitely dominated by movement compared to actual moves making contact.
And I mean, at the same time, that's still, you know, they're still fighting in a way. They're fighting for space. They're fighting to see who, like, if they can bait their opponent into making a mistake. Just not, you know, fighting.
And making that mistake is more than just like, when is my opponent going to get impatient and attack me? Like, there are a lot of mistakes you can make that are not just getting impatient.
Okay, dude. Was Guichabou, like, listening to the stream? He was like, I'll show him this sig. I'll show him what I can do. But Guichabou does show us what he can do, at least in the first game, taking it to his name. And now Java down 1-0. Gonna immediately lock back in on that Dusk. I would be so surprised if we see any swaps here. That legend or that weapon, right? Like, when something's a new hotness and just seeing all people play it, someone's like, I'm just gonna try it out for this tournament. And they're just playing the same way they did in their other picks. Obviously, still a pro player, still incredibly good, but they don't have you know, the amount of experience and practice that's obviously been put in by Java on this orb, which has made him, like you said, more of an orb player than just someone, a spear player playing Dusk.
Yeah, that's definitely right. Now he's starting to use those neutral airs more, which I like to see. Reasonably safe move, or at least it covers a lot of territory. Uh-oh, this is scary.
It's like you said against McD, you just can't afford to dodge! That's Guichabou! First stock down, 30 seconds needed. What a change of pace. And now Java needs to answer back. We've seen Java explode and just, you know, delete stocks multiple times this tournament. Whether or not he can do it against Guichabou is going to be so important here. And there it is again. We saw the same thing with McD. Guichabou going high in the sky, giving so much respect and space. It's that on-off switch. The weapon throws. You'd have me believe I was watching 2022 Snowy.
Yeah. Except Guichabou's like hitting them very often and not disarming himself, so...
Not again, Java!
Dude.
Please, man.
Okay,
Okay.
finally.
Redemption.
Finally we see a D-Light ground pound that doesn't drop.
And actually a pretty good equalization by Java there. Guichabou had a pretty sizable lead, and just Java slowed things down, forced Guichabou to have to like really think about how he was approaching, but now we're back into the scrappy neutral here, and Java struggling to answer. Just goes for the end light there, down there as well. This is what we're seeing. I feel like the down air anticipations are kind of a telltale sign that Java is trying to figure out how to play this neutral, right? Like he's trying to anticipate, he's not trying to react, and as a result, if it doesn't pay off, he's just putting himself in a position. He's just leaving himself there. It's not hitting anything, and he's not getting punished for it. It's just sort of stalling out the game state.
And I will give him credit. Like it's tough. It's tough to react against Qatars because they have such low startup frames. Like it's very difficult to react against Qatars. And Java has great reaction time.
Oh,
probably one of the quickest.
Stock.
That's so tough, dude. It's so hard to play against Qatars. They are very strong in the meta currently.
Absolutely, and I mean, when it's kind of the stars have kind of aligned here for Guichabou as someone who has just been on this pick since the dawn of time, and now having your character be in a position where I mean, I wouldn't even say Lin Fei is like a really strong character. Like Guichabou has been playing her for so long, and is so adept with these weapons and these signatures that the stars have aligned for him to be able to possibly take his first ever gold medal. Java trying to claw his way back into this game with the spear now, a weapon we haven't seen him use too much in this game, even regardless of the tournament so far. Oh, I love that down dodge, or that ground pound read on the up dodge by Guichabou. Doesn't get too much out of it, but still, it's so stylish. And kind of just playing with his food at this point. And there's the side sig to Guichabou. 1 game away from taking his first gold medal.
They clearly don't know either. So what the heck am I going to be able to tell you?
Yeah, it honestly, with how consistent Guichabou is being, especially with catching these dodges, it's like you said, if you're playing against him, you've got to be thinking like, how do I win? How do I avoid taking this damage? Because as long as Guichabou finds the openings, his consistency on punishing these dodges is just so scary.
Java really thinking about this one. Is he going to reset the client like he did earlier? Are we going to see a return to the Hattori? What does Java have for us?
A lot of pleading for the hammer or the Bodvar in chat. Which obviously that would be awesome, but unfortunately it looks like we are going to be seeing the return of the box. Maybe it was just a little break to cool off his mental. I mean, if I'm in this position, I think if most people are in this position, they are shaken up. Like your mental, I think, is the biggest thing to protect here to a Java. He needs to be going into this game just focusing on this game. He can't afford to think about the medal. He can't afford to think about any money. He can't afford to think about what's happened so far in the tournament. He needs to focus on this one game, like they're queuing each other for the first time today.
Now we're over on the dome. We got some soft platforms here. We got 2 of them. They're pretty high. Of course, you're not able to go into the stage, but I don't think either of these players are really focused on that, even though we saw Java play with it just a little bit. Guichabou's starting out with the cannon here. Probably going to be looking for another weapon spawn. I'm surprised one has not come in yet. Oh, what is Odin doing?
Absolutely.
He's asleep at the wheel. There's
There it
one,
is.
and there it is.
Immediately straight on it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm honestly, I'm glad to see that Guichabou didn't like immediately throw the cannon away. He committed to playing it in this first stock. Maybe it's just from the comfort of being this far up over Java, or maybe he's just feeling like he can play both weapons a bit more confidently now. Weapon throws straight at Java, the disrespect, and now Java a full stock behind, charging up the neutral heavy. Guichabou not letting up. Don't tell me he's gonna 3-stock again, dude.
I think like Java literally needs a miracle, and not because like the lead that exists right now is impossible for him to come back from, but the lead that exists right now is impossible for him to come back from given everything that we've seen of Java versus Guichabou.
Absolutely. Java, like, 3 recoveries. It doesn't feel like Java is confident that he can win this game. I mean, we saw for a minute there when he was being chased down, he was just letting Guichabou run after him and just running away. He wasn't like spacing up proficiently or anything. He just like fell off the side of the stage and just fell. Maybe he needs that second to just like recover himself, but that's a nice side sync too. He will be able to equalize up the numbers at least. Java, again, needs to gather himself. Gonna actually stick with the spear here. Honestly, I like that. Because if you're Java, like, you can pretty confidently accept that Guichabou has adapted to not just your orb, but orb in general. He has fought probably the 2 best orb players in the world back-to-back today. So, stick with what he's a bit less familiar with, even if you do lose your stock there. Now on tournament stock, too.
He did 2 important things there. Not only did he, like, swap out the weapon so he ends on spear, as opposed to picking up the orb. Oh, I thought he actually primed a spear. My mistake. I'm incorrect.
Oh, no. Java.
Yeah, I think it's...
there needs to be some kind of answer here.
This set's winding down reasonably quickly. It's not going to necessarily happen in the next 10 or 15 seconds, so the potential is there. But I think we kind of all see the writing on the wall here. Guichabou is he's just playing out of his mind. He's playing too good, and Java doesn't really have an answer for it. It seems like nobody else in North America hardly has an answer for it. Man, I don't know.
Yeah, it honestly just feels like it looks like you're fighting up against a brick wall here. The side 6 spot dodged. Guichabou looking for anything to close this out. 1 KO confirm away from confirming his first ever tournament victory. Java fighting tooth and nail here. So, and like doesn't go into a recovery, but Guichabou, 1 of those will be enough. Does he get the punish? Weapon throw doesn't confirm. Down air. Java options dwindling, and he's gonna fall. Guichabou secures his first ever gold medal, following up from his first ever medal in a ones tournament to begin with, and wins out the trial of Baldr.
I was just being a little bit silly when I was like, he got the 3rd place on the last one. He'll probably get 2nd place on this one. And then that means he wins the next one. But he just skipped that. He skipped step 2 and went all the way to step 3 and got the victory here. Got, again, his best placement of all time, his first gold medal, denying Java his first gold medal. That's huge.